Hello everybody, welcome to Reverse Homesteading. Today I am going to show you how to undo a minor mistake of overplanting, overplanting in my example. These bean plants are a little overplanted. There are 2 in each cell. Ideally there would be 1. I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference for beans. These ones are green beans, so they're the ones from Yates, Pioneer Stringless they're called, and a couple of those, maybe just 1, I'll give to my son, so my grandson can grow some beans himself. I would have liked to do it from the start, but he's only 2 and he's probably not going to understand that you have to wait so long for a seed to become a plant like that, so we'll do the next step at some point. But anyway, I thought I'd give them the plant that's started a little bit because they don't have a whole lot of experience with gardening. Might be easier than starting from a seed. So, I have a pot ready with some potting mix that's got a little bit of nutrients in it. I've put some broken down cow manure, just stuff I got from the shop, in there mixed in with the soil, and I have a little dish to go underneath it, so it's not too, just enough so you can see the water around it, see if it needs topping up. And that's really good for people who are not used to gardening as well, because overwatering, underwatering is kind of tricky. Something like a bean plant, it's not going to care so much if it dries out a little bit or if it's a little bit wet around the bottom, so it's just a bit of insurance for if someone's not used to gardening, to put a little dish underneath, especially as we're officially finished with summer. It's autumn/fall, but we've still got some warmer days in the high 30s coming up this week. So yeah, the heat hasn't actually stopped. So I'll show you how I'm going to get these out without hurting the bean plants, hopefully. These are quite squishy cells. They're just the cheap little ones that come with the plant little mini greenhouses that I've got. So if you push up from the bottom, it'll free up the plants, hopefully without, if you grab them right at the base, these are strong enough to withstand that. I've given them some sea salt. I don't have any affiliation, but any kind of seaweed emulsion that you can dilute to the weakest form usually is the one you use for very young plants. You don't need it too strong. More is not better in that case, and it's not a fertilizer, the ones with seaweed in them. They actually, it's like vitamin C for plants basically. It strengthens the cell walls so they can grow stronger and taller and healthier, and they green up quite a lot too, perhaps why a lot of people think it's a fertilizer, but it's not. It's a bodybuilder for plants, I guess. So these bean plants, you can just get your fingers gently in between them, start at the top, gently work your way down. If you're hearing or feeling a lot more roots snap, just sort of give it a bit more of a wiggle. And wow, these ones were planted on the 22nd. Today is the 3rd of March, so that's 8 days. These were seeds 8 days ago, and look at the roots on them. That's impressive. I am very impressed. Perhaps I'll only put 1 in the pot. I thought maybe I could put 2, but yeah, there's actually not going to be room. So I'll just make some room here. I'll leave the second one for later. So this pot may be a little full, but because I was mixing in the manure, it ended up a little bit fuller than usual. So there's more soil to top this up, so just make adequate space for the the root ball, but don't plant it too deep. So that's where the soil was, if you can see that. Originally that's where the soil was, so try to keep it approximately there. You don't want it too high or too low. So you just firm the soil down a little bit down low is what I do, so that it'll stand upright, approximately in the centre of the pot. And then you can heap up the soil around it a little bit. I'll put some leaves there for mulch, but it's I'm going to put something else on. Yeah, so I've just got some some more potting soil here. And some of it is a little bit secondhand because I've pulled the last of my tomatoes out and put them in the garden. I'll show you those in the next video perhaps. So there are a few tomato roots here which will break down. They're only thin little roots. So secondhand soil, always make sure you keep it moist, and you shouldn't have too many issues with it. Just remember it'll need a few more nutrients in there. This is blowing around quite a bit in the wind. I wanted to do it earlier today, but I got stuck on a phone call. So yeah, it's a bit sunnier and a bit more windy than I thought, but that's okay. We will get there. So this looks like a bit too much soil, but it will go down a bit once we water it in. Usually I would water it at this stage so that you know it's properly wet. So, this might need a stake. I actually chose these bean plants because they don't need a stake, so I'll see if I can avoid that. So see how the soil is sinking down a bit? You know that's going right down into the pot. Use my little grandson's watering can. I'm sure he won't mind so much. See, the plant is already a bit more stable in there with the roots being supported with wet soil. Alrighty. So now I just have some sugarcane mulch here. That's my top pick for the garden mulch. I used to use my own straw, kind of straw, that I made out of the huge amounts of grass we had up in far north Queensland, especially that was in the tropics, especially in the summer, because oh my goodness, you could just about sit there and watch the grass. So I was just talking to a friend on the text message earlier. I said, yeah, I just use grass for mulch up there. Yeah, you'd only need to leave it in the sun for a day or two and it would be straw yellow from green. So yeah, that's our little plant baby tucked in and ready to go to its new home. And yeah, have its little tray underneath, so it'll be kept nice and wet for all of that. So I'll do these other little beans later, but I'll just show you in the meantime. It's a little bit tangled. What I can plant out now and what I can't. So this cress, if you can see that on the corner, yeah, just that cress is just a little bit too young. It's got two lots of leaves out, but it's just a little bit too small to plant out. This sugarloaf cabbage, weird to think that a cabbage starts growing like that. They're pretty tough, those stems there, so I'm just thinking I might be able to separate those ones out and put them into a little pot approximately that size. In Australia, I've actually noticed we don't have a lot of options for this sized pot. A lot of people would call them a tomato seedling pot. You can get them from the shops, so I do save them, but at the moment I don't have any because I gave them all away when I moved. These are just really cheap ones. I think I got them from the reject shop, so they're just really not very strong at all. Anyway, so I'll keep looking for ones that size. Let me know in the comments if you've found any in Australia that you can order online that are that size and are not crazy expensive. We shall see about those. Yeah, we can separate these wheeler ones out in the same way that we separated the beans. And if you look over here at the they're the little nasturtiums. I think there are only about 5 of them. So they've got 2 leaves and they've already got shoots coming up, and they were planted at about the same size, about the same time. So yeah, 22nd. So that's 9 days. These little plants were seeds 9 days ago. But yeah, seeing as they've got 2 leaves, people usually say once they got true leaves you can fiddle around and transplant them. So they're the true leaves for the beans. You get, I think they're called dicotyledons, these first 2 little things that look like leaves. they're not actually the true leaves, these are. So don't transplant your beans until they've got some of these. But anyway, I will transplant some of these and hopefully relieve the pressure a little bit. But things like this chard, or otherwise known as silver beet, oh goodness, it's got some mulch stuck in there. They're just too small. I'm going to wait until they're a bit bigger. I've been keeping them in the sun as much as I can so they're not leggy and skinny and wimpy looking, so that I can transplant them sooner. But it's not ideal to have to pull them all out because they're too crowded. But yep, as I explained, I don't have my soil for my garden beds yet, so we will keep on chugging. And I have actually transplanted things like this a couple of times before and it's been okay, so I'm hoping that'll be just as good this time round. But I am that far ahead on my planting out for winter, and yeah, I'm happy about that. There's my little update on my seedlings. I can't believe how much they've grown in, so many, in eight or 9 days. It's just crazy. Anyway, I'll leave you with that information. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.